Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. We have 4 great stories today, so make yourself comfortable and let's get started. Automotive Assumption. Okay, so I took classes at a community college to get a degree in automotive technology, meaning I could be a mechanic just about anywhere. Am I? No, I'm a custodian because I couldn't find a job near me in my field. However, I always work on my vehicle myself unless I need a major repair done. Now, here's the cast for this. Me, entitled woman, shift manager, general manager, and nice kid. On this day, I needed to get a few things: oil filter, a tire pressure gauge, and I chose to get some air fresheners just for the hell of it. While I was shopping, I noticed a boy and his dad looking at the oil. The boy looked all sorts of confused, so I walked over and helped them out, explaining the rule of thumb I was taught for changing oil. 3,000 miles for conventional, 5,000 miles for semi-synthetic, 7,000 miles for full synthetic, and help them find what they needed to find. Just being a good person, I put my earbuds in as I was trying to see which oil I needed myself when I felt one get yanked out. Entitled woman: "Excuse me, I've been trying to get your attention for the last 5 minutes. Me: "Oh, I'm sorry, miss, I couldn't hear you. You need help reaching something?" She was a short lady, maybe 5 feet, and I'm 6'1". Entitled woman: "No, I need you to carry this." Then she hands me a bucket full of car cleaning supplies the store was selling. Me: "Huh? I don't work here, miss. I'm doing shopping myself." I gestured to the items in my hands. "Besides, I bought one of those last week, and they're not that heavy." Entitled woman: "Of course you work here. You help those 2 guys out." At this point, she starts tapping her foot on the ground. Me: "Oh, that. They were confused about motor oil. I took automotive classes at the college, and just take the bucket or I'll have you fired for being lazy." I simply ignored her. I was done shopping now and put my earbud back in and head to the counter with her following me, furious. I take my earbud out and go through my purchase as she clears her throat. Entitled woman: "I'd like to speak to a manager. This employee didn't help me when I asked him to." Store manager: "Ma'am, I'm the manager and he doesn't work here. He's a regular customer, but he doesn't work here, so there's nothing I can do." Entitled woman growls: "Go get me your boss then." He looked at me with a "dude, WTF" look and called for the general manager, who was in the back on a call with a customer. GM: "What do you need, store manager?" EW: "Finally, someone with the brain. I want this employee," gestures to me, "to be fired because he didn't help me when I asked him to." GM: "Miss, he doesn't work here. He put in an application like a week and a half ago and just now got to it. But he doesn't work here, and with your behavior, he probably won't. Need anything else, bud?" Looks at me. Me: "Huh? No, I think I got all I need right now. If I forgot something, I'll be back. See ya." I finish paying and walk out of the store as the woman screams at the managers for being incompetent, lazy, selfish bastards. I just smiled, got in my truck, and went home to do my oil change. I feel like a lot of these stupid people know they effed up and just double or triple down on their bullcrap, thinking it'll float them through the argument. And our second story for today. Putting me on the schedule doesn't mean that I have to work for you again. When I was in my senior year of high school, I started working at a local family-owned restaurant. My boyfriend was working there before me. It was only my 3rd job ever, but I could tell that the place wasn't very professional. The pay was under the table, and the schedule would constantly change. There were times where they would add me to the schedule on the day they wanted me to come in. I would typically see next week's schedule on Saturday. Sometimes I would be listed as off for Tuesday, but get a call that day saying I was added to the schedule that morning and I needed to come in. The family would always be getting into drama with each other and screaming so loud that the customers would get uncomfortable. Eventually, I decided that I needed a job that had more professional environment where I could also get more hours. I applied and got in somewhere and gave my 2 weeks notice. I worked at the new place for a few months before I had to quit, and they stopped working with my school schedule completely. I didn't immediately start looking for a new job because I still lived at home and had several thousands in savings to keep me going, plus my classes were getting really tough and I needed more time for homework and studying. My boyfriend was still working at the restaurant at the time, and one of the waitresses, part of the family that owned the restaurant, we'll call her Lindy, asked him how I was liking the new job. He told them I'd quit because they couldn't work with my class schedule. Deb told him that I could always come back to work at the restaurant if I needed to, and he told her he'd let me know. Maybe a month goes by, and he asked me if I'd been in contact with the owner. I'll call her Deb. I said no and asked him why he would ask that. He told me that apparently she thought that I was working at the restaurant again because she added me to the schedule. We both started laughing because she had no reason to think I was working there. Lindy must have told Deb that I didn't even have a job, so she took that opportunity to put me on the schedule without even contacting me. My boyfriend decided to just pretend that he didn't see my name on the schedule because it wasn't his problem. The day I was scheduled to work comes, and he's working as well. Lindy asks him where I am, and he just says, "OP doesn't work here." And she says, "But you told me that she wanted to come back." He said, "I never said anything of the sort." And he tried to explain that to her, but she stuck to her guns. They eventually found someone to cover the shifts that they had me down for. But I'm still amazed that they didn't even have contact with me for months, yet still put me on the schedule. Lady put her hands on me and loses everything. A bit over 10 years ago, I tore ligaments in my shoulder, but I couldn't afford to fix it, so I just lived with it for 10 years. It was a bit unstable, but usually didn't hurt that much until a very rude woman walked up to me demanding I help her. Her attitude was typical of Karen. I've seen in other stories here. Not realizing she mistook me for an employee, I told her to go F herself and turned away. The next thing I felt was an excruciating pain in my shoulder, the likes of which I hadn't felt in 10 years. My arm was dislocating and the ligaments already torn were ripping apart completely. Now, to be fair, if my shoulder had been healthy, it would have handled the pulling the woman was doing to it, and she had no way of knowing my shoulder wasn't healthy. As it turned out, legally speaking, this doesn't matter. Now, I'm not proud of what happened next, even though everyone said I was perfectly justified. I have an almost pathological prohibition against hitting a woman. But the fact my arm was literally being torn off overrode that prohibition. Before I could stop it, my fist smashed into her face hard enough to knock out 3 teeth, break her nose, and 2 of my fingers. But it did stop her pulling on my arm. Frankly, I was horrified by what I'd done, but it was all caught on tape, so legally I was defending myself. She ended up being convicted of felony assault with grave bodily harm, got 5 years in prison, and lost her very good-paying job as that position could not be held by a convicted felon. Her husband left her, getting full custody of the kids and taking most of the money. That money she had left went mostly to me, paying to have my shoulder fixed. Last I heard, she was out of prison working in a shop. Of course, when she chose to grab me, she had no idea how much damage she was about to do. But as I said, that doesn't matter. If you put your hands on someone, you become fully responsible for any damage you cause, even if you're just aggravating a pre-existing condition. That includes any damage the other person might cause in defending themselves. Frankly, I'm not even mad at her. Sure, she hurt me, but I don't think she deserved to have her entire life utterly destroyed. But as they say, life is rarely fair. The consequences of your choices can be far worse than what you expect and go far beyond what's fair. I really do hope she doesn't have to deal with too many entitled, rude people like herself. Guess I shouldn't have worn a blue polo then. At my job, we're required to wear a polo with the place's logo and name, and they're very prominent. Yesterday, after work, I stopped to get gas at a station where their shirts happen to be the same color blue, but her t-shirts and the station's name is emblazoned across the entire front of the shirt, and they all have name tags and headsets as it's a gas station / quick food service combo type of thing. I decided to get a drink after I filled my tank, but while I was checking out, I was mistaken for one of the gas station employees. Cast, me. ABW is angry bathroom woman. GSE is gas station employee. I'm standing at the register buying a soda when angry bathroom woman storms up and turns right to me. "Why is the bathroom locked? I knocked and no one's in there." I don't answer because I assume she's speaking to the employee behind the counter and continued getting money out of my wallet. She cleared her throat and raised her voice, "Miss, why is the bathroom locked?" This is when I look up and realize she's completely ignoring the attendant behind the counter and is facing me. Gas stations often lock their bathroom just to be safe. "Well, give me the key." Me coming to the wrong conclusion. "Oh, I didn't use the restroom, so I'm sorry, but I don't have the key." Angry bathroom woman sighs angrily. "Well, then go get the key so I can use the effing bathroom." Finally clicked. "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't work here." I point to the attendant literally 4 feet away behind the register. "I'm sure she'd be happy to help you, though." "That's ridiculous. You're her manager. Just get the effing key. Is this how you treat all your customers?" Gas station employee finally chimed in and said, "Ma'am, she doesn't work here. I have the key right here," and handed ABW the key. She huffed, "Well, was that so difficult?" and stormed off to the bathroom. The employee and I both laughed once she stormed off and chatted for a minute. We figured since our shirts were the same blue, she must have just assumed mine was the fancier version that made me the manager. The best part was that the employee she had ignored actually was the manager, so there you have it. Not anything too dramatic, but it amused me. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you soon.